Well, this is a first, Tomas. I don't think we've ever reviewed an episode of television before on the ZNT Wrestling Show. Aside from Saturday night's main event, I think that counts. But regardless, It's our first episode of Monday Night Raw that we've talked about, and it's a doozy because it's the debut of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I know this video is a week old. I get it. I'm sitting on my couch recording this podcast 2 hours before I drive to the SAP Center to attend Raw Live.
Yes,
that's wild.
Zach will be in attendance for the second episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix.
You're damn right I will.
There's two reasons why we're reviewing this episode. Number one, the last pay-per-view we had was Survivor Series, and we really didn't want a drought of current WWE content until the Royal Rumble in February. This is like the longest drought of pay-per-views I think I've ever seen since I've been a fan of of WWE. And also, this is kind of a big deal. For the past 20 years, for the past 20 years, for the most part, Monday Night Raw has been on the USA Network. And if you want to go back even more, Raw has always been on cable television.
Yep.
And this is the first time it was a bold move by WWE to move its flagship show from cable television to a streaming service. And, I know I think off the record, I kind of went into a rant of like, who cares if they switch networks? Like, who cares that the NXT is going to the CW? It really doesn't matter which channel they're on. But here, it's a lot different. This is the first transition from cable television to a streaming service. We know AEW is kind of doing the same thing with Max, but they're doing a simulcast. You can still watch it on TBS, but now you have the option to watch it on Max, which I think is really cool. I did a little alternating thing these past couple weeks. I watched 2 weeks ago Dynamite regularly on TBS, and then I watched AEW on Max this past Wednesday, and I did notice a difference. The quality was a lot better. Skipping commercials was a lot easier. But my one issue with AEW on Max, since we're on this streaming service issue, I could only skip so many commercials. I reached a point in the show where the show would just stop and I was forced to watch like a minute and a half of ads from Max. And I'm like, that's shitty. I know that's not AEW's thing. That's a Max thing. I'm like, that's just shitty. When I was watching Raw on Netflix, I was able to skip all the commercials and there wasn't a single ad break that I had to sit through. And that's just like, ads don't really bother me. Like, I don't pay for YouTube Premium. I know I have to deal with them, but if I can avoid them, I will. And that's why I wait until halfway through a show so I can skip all the commercials. I can skip all the recaps and I can just watch what I want to watch. So Max, that's kind of shitty on you that you're forcing me to stop when I pay for the ad-free version of Max to make me sit there 3 or 4 times in a broadcast to sit there and watch ads. So I'm just like, this is why I'm going to swap back and forth between watching AEW on TBS and on Max. But all the pay-per-views are going to be on Max now, which, thank God, I was ready to snap BR's neck. And when I found out that BR was no longer providing AEW pay-per-views, I said, good fucking riddance. I love Triller TV a lot more, and I'm going to love it even more when AEW transitions to Max. Sorry to get off that tangent, but since we're on the subject of streaming services right now, the point being, both WWE and AEW are doing big things right now. And I feel very full circle with Netflix because I feel like I've told this story before. To all of you youngins out there that don't know, Netflix started out as a service where you had to rent DVDs. You would go online, you would load up your queue, and every week, depending on your plan, you would get 1 or 2 movies. And this is a core childhood memory for me, because we would rent a movie every weekend and we would set our little fort. It was usually a horror movie or a comedy, me, my dad, and my brother, and we would watch a movie. But we upgraded to the plan where we get 2 DVDs a week, and that's the first time I was able to rent WWE pay-per-views from Netflix. Every single week, it'd be a new pay-per-view, and it was probably the highlight of my weekend, getting to watch WWE shows. And here we are.
There you go.
Almost 20 years ago. Here we are 20 years later. Now I'm watching Monday Night Raw on Netflix. It feels very full circle.
It's wild. It's wild when you think of it like that. And Netflix is a global juggernaut now. Raw is not only being streamed in the United States on Netflix, but all over the world. Europe, Brazil, freaking Kuwait, China, wherever the fuck you are. You are watching Raw on Netflix. That is
live.
Insane. It's insane, isn't it? And
it really is.
To think that Blockbuster back in the late 2000s thought that Netflix was not going to last. Netflix came up to Blockbuster with the idea to potentially merge businesses, and Blockbuster didn't see any value in it. And look where Blockbuster is now. They're fucking non-existent.
But you have to say also, Blockbuster and Hollywood Video walked so Netflix could run. The whole idea of renting movies really came from Hollywood.
Yeah.
But another point I wanted to make about Netflix, what was I going to say about Netflix? I hate when this happens. I have
it's okay. It's okay.
It disappears from my mind.
I'll say something. I fucking miss Blockbuster, man.
Oh, I do too.
That was my childhood. I would walk into the store. I would rent the WWE video game over and over again. That's where I would get my wrestling tapes as well. Yeah.
I mean, all I'm going to say, Netflix is also. I'm not trying to like suck Netflix's dick over here. Like, I'm not.
You sure?
For those big corporation stuff, but Netflix really changed the game of streaming services, because I remember when Netflix was the only game in town, and I would spend so many summers as a child watching movies on Netflix, watching documentaries on Netflix. But I noticed they started getting a little inconsistent. Like, for example, you could watch Shrek 2, but Shrek 1, 3, and 4 was not on there, and they started getting lazy with their distribution. But then when like Disney Plus came on the scene, Paramount Plus came on the scene, Peacock came on the scene, Netflix really stepped up their game. And they were like, okay, there's some competition in town. Here's a bunch of brand new movies. Here's a bunch of brand new original television shows. I mean, look at it. Stranger Things, Squid Game, so many TV shows that like changed the game. And
I could think of a few more. Wednesday, 13 Reasons Why. Whatever else you want to name, like that. Netflix is how I watched Breaking Bad the whole way through for the first time, and it's still the greatest television show I think of all time. Netflix is a game changer, and now that they've added Monday Night Raw into their catalog every single week, it will be my honor to be there for the second episode. But this first episode, WWE really went all out, and they wanted to make sure that they paid tribute to the past while also paving the way for the future. And this,
I think, real quick, the point I was trying to make is Netflix. I mean, it's not just in pro wrestling. It really just shows that competition brings out the best in anyone. Could you imagine if there was no Disney Plus, no Paramount Plus, no Peacock, no any of those streaming services? Netflix would still be probably putting out garbage to this day. And now I don't just go to Netflix. Now I have all these other streaming services, and it's like, I hate to say this because, we kind of bitch about AEW a lot, but at the end of the day, the consumer is the winner. We get all of this content on Amazon, on Peacock, on Disney Plus. And, if they want to fight it out for all that shit, you go right ahead. We're the ones that are winning because I subscribe to most of the streaming services.
Yes. Oh, me too. Me too. And I still got to, cancel some plans because now I'm living with Lindsay. Yeah. We share it. So it's... I got to find ways to save money now. But anyway, this first episode of Raw on Netflix I thought was really good. I realized the complaint that a lot of people have is there wasn't really a lot of huge story development on this episode. But that's not really what this was about for me. It was about introducing a whole new audience to what WWE is. And I think for what they were doing with their presentation, brand spanking new set, they're in a brand spanking new arena, the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, which is
a beautiful arena. Oh my god!
It's like mini SoFi Stadium if you really think about it. Like, look at the LEDs surrounding the ring. Look at the screen that's above it. It is exactly like SoFi Stadium to me, except just in arena form.
Yeah, LA is experiencing the same thing I experienced when they opened the Golden One Center. Because I grew up with Arco Arena, it went through a different name changes, Power Balance Pavilion, Sleep Train Arena. And as much nostalgia as I have for that building, it was so old and run down and small that I kind of accepted the fact we were not going to get another WWE pay-per-view after the Bash because it was not going to be able to fill that arena. When we got Golden One Center, what a game changer it was. We got No Mercy 2016 right off the bat. And that was the first time I visited that building. And I was just like, what a beautiful building we have now in Sacramento. So I hope LA feels the same with the Intuit Arena.
Yeah, and my prayers going out to anybody who has been affected by the wildfires in Los Angeles. I know Lindsay is originally from the LA area. She went to high school in Pasadena. My prayers go out to everybody. If you can, donate to local funds, donate to GoFundMe's to help these people save their livelihoods. Yeah, and it's
I echo that.
eerie thinking about it because Raw emanated from LA, and then the next night, wildfires everywhere.
Yeah, it's a good thing it didn't happen on the debut episode, or a lot of people would have been affected a lot more than they already are. Prayers out to you. Maybe if we could find a charitable organization, we'll drop it in the description so people can donate, our lovely viewers. And to go off of your thing about fans being disappointed by this episode, I mean, it's like wrestling fans act like this was going to be the last episode of Raw ever. And even though WWE was hyping up this episode to be this huge thing, and I understand both sides, but I do agree with you, this was about impressing the Netflix executives. Triple H really pulled out the big guns to be like, hey, you gave us, what was it, $5 billion for this deal?
Fucking ridiculous amount of money.
We're going to show you what WWE is all about. And now that we're recording this a week after the fact, Monday Night Raw pops a 4.7 million person view, which is the highest rating they've gotten in Lord knows how long, and it overtook Squid Game as the #1 show on Netflix this week. That is huge.
Yeah. I mean, like, not that that was a tough thing to do because Squid Game does not need a second season. I haven't even seen it, and I can tell you that Squid Game season 2 does not need to exist. And for those of you wondering,
Squid Game season 2 is a good show.
I will watch Squid Game season 2 and I will review it. Anybody who wants to go down in the comments and ask me, "Where's the Squid Game 2 review?" Yeah, no, it's coming. It's coming. So please.
Squid Game 3 is coming out in the summer. It's gonna get better.
Why the fuck do we need a third season?
Because he's trying to put a stop to the game. Don't talk shit about my boy Sungyo.
Oh my gosh. But anyway.
Did you participate in the games?
No, I would not. I'm waiting. Oh, Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is wrapping up on Netflix as well. That's one of my favorite shows.
I've never watched it before.
How dare you? But
I know.
Anyway,
as a wrestling fan, I should be ashamed.
How dare you? So this episode of Raw opens with a beautiful video package, and it's Hunter narrating it, and he's using terms like face and heel, shoot, that kind of thing. He's introducing a new audience to the art of wrestling, all while there's a painter who's putting down the biggest WWE moments in history on the ring canvas. It's a really nice little visual there.
It was a beautiful package. And also, I waited like an hour into the broadcast to tune in because I was a little nervous of how this Netflix thing was going to work. Like,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, how much buffering was I going to get? Was my quality going to be garbage? Like, how easy was it going to be to skip commercials? Because I will say, I've been spoiled for the past 4 years, I want to say, with YouTube TV.
Yeah.
And I watch it on my PlayStation. So if I hit right on the directional pad, it skips 30 seconds at a time. So or 15 seconds at a time, whatever it is. So whenever a commercial break comes up, I just tap it a bunch of times. I see the little picture on the bar and I know when to stop it. But here with Netflix, I was like, how is this going to work? It's going to take some a little adjusting for me. So I hop on the broadcast and thank God the first thing I see when I hit Raw, do you want to join live or start from the beginning? Thank God. That was one of the things I was worried about the most. I'm like, am I going to have to start up every single episode of Raw and have to rewind all the way to the back?
That's something that Peacock needs to still figure out for the pay-per-views. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there.
You know what I have to do?
I'm not going to watch the Royal Rumble live. So please fix that, Peacock. Please.
Hey, everybody watching at home. You know what I have to do with this guy and my friends back at home when we have to join a pay-per-view late? One of us has to be the sacrificial lamb. One of us will start the show. The other one will be closing their eyes, and it's up to the other one to pause the show immediately and rewind all the way to the back.
Yeah,
it is a dangerous game that we play here.
yeah. So Peacock needs to get their shit together, but
yeah. So and then that was really nice. I booted up the show. The quality was a little fuzzy, like the first 10 minutes I was watching it. But that doesn't bother me. I got a little bit of buffering in the middle of the show, but nowhere near as bad as the Tyson Paul fight.
Oh God, dude, that was my biggest concern, and I still have a bit of PTSD from when the WWE Network first launched back in 2014. WrestleMania 30. I've told this story before. Lesnar hits that third F5 on the Undertaker. 1, 2, buffering, and I'm waiting for it. I'm like, is Taker gonna kick out? And after buffering for what felt like an eternity, 3. And I was like, you've got to be shitting me, man. The streak is over, and I missed the moment fully because of buffering.
I feel your pain so hard on that. And the WWE Network gave me some PTSD as well. But it was very nice to know aside from some fuzziness here and there and probably like 3 buffers max, my experience watching Raw was pretty good. I thought the quality was beautiful, and I can get used to this. It's just gonna have to take some adjusting when it comes to fast forwarding through commercials. I don't get that little picture at the bottom telling me when the show's gonna come back.
Yeah.
So what I do is I just skip 3 minutes at a time, and if I go a little more, then I just have to go back. You know what? First world problems. We're talking about wildfires right now.
Yeah.
First world problems. I will get used to it. It's just
yeah.
gonna take a bit of adjusting.
If you're in Europe, you're lucky enough to not get ads on Netflix. You got to see a you get to see a whole ass New Day promo where Xavier Woods is running down Travis Scott for some reason, and all sorts of fun stuff. You get like no cuts in the middle of the matches. So yeah, I mean, as far as my quality and my viewing experience, it went off without a hitch. Hunter opens up the show basically to like do his usual promo. Are you ready? In the middle of the ring, and the crowd. You know, like, I'm still going to put my flag in the Paul Levesque planet right there. Because that man, he is the primary, he is the primary reason WWE is in the shape that it's in right now. And it's never been better.
I agree.
At least.
But also at the same time, you know, we love Triple H and we love what he's doing with the product. But I will admit, I've seen a lot of people say this like the past few months as well. Little bit too much ego stroking going here. Like Triple H likes to say it's for the fans, by the fans, but you know, he likes to stroke his ego. And you know what? We're gonna let him, but we see what you're doing, Hunter. There's a lot of things Hunter can improve on as well when it comes to presenting himself to the audience. Like we play fair here on the ZNT channel, and if I'm going to dog on Tony Khan for him the way he dodges questions, Triple H has to come up with a better way to answer questions at press releases because he's just as shady as the rest.
Or just get rid of the press releases entirely.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that is my director's note for right now. And also lower your ticket prices, Hunter, because you are this greed is the reason why Tomas and I are not in fact going to WrestleMania 41.
So after Triple H wraps up his promo welcoming us all to Raw, you know what? You could tell me 6 months in advance this is going to happen, and every week leading up to this is going to happen, and I could have full knowledge this is going to happen, and I don't care how old I get, I will always audibly pop for The Rock. Because The Rock's music hits, and I stand up, and I just scream, The Rock. Like, and I knew he was going to be there, too. It does not matter. You could tell me every single day leading up to a show for 6 months that The Rock is going to be on the show. And I'm still going to act like I had no idea he was going to be there.
So The Rock comes out,
The Rock has.
And The Rock is my favorite of all time. Like, if you've been following the ZNT Wrestling Show over the past 5 years, you guys would know that by now. The Rock comes out with his final boss attire. He comes out with his cute little People's Championship belt on his shoulder. But he's very babyface here. Like, this is executive Dwayne Johnson. This isn't The Rock as the final boss. This is Dwayne Johnson basically, you know, thanking the Netflix executives for making this all happen. He's thanking the fans. And this is what really is bugging me right now. He points out Cody. He points out Cody. And Cody's sitting in the front row. And The Rock is praising Cody for carrying WWE for, like... Sorry, my microphone went out a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, cut off for just a second there.
Rock is praising Cody for carrying WWE on his back, right? And Cody's sitting there like, and he's all modest. He's the modest babyface and what have you. But then The Rock says, tell Mama Rhodes I say hello. And Cody is laughing at it. And I'm like, weren't you just beating the shit out of Cody outside his bus a year ago?
And you know what?
Yeah.
I would have accepted that. This would have been an easier pill to swallow if we didn't have the Raw after Mania. That's the biggest plot hole ever right now. It's what Rock gave to Cody. You know, if The Rock would have came out the night after Mania and I know we've been through a lot these past couple months. I know all this stuff, but after this weekend, you really earned my respect. I'm going to shake your hand. You're going to carry this company into the future. That would have been fine. But they had every intention on continuing the story with that, you know, what did The Rock give to Cody Rhodes? And, you know, the look on Cody's face was like, I know what he's talking about. Like, Cody is very aware of his sins. Like, he struck up a deal with the devil. But here, I was willing to let it play out. But now knowing like the backstage news of The Rock doesn't even know if he's going to work Mania this year, it really.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that for a second, and I'll tell you why.
Like,
I'll tell you why. Because the next night he was on NXT cutting a heel promo. He was right back to being the final boss again, and I'm like, I don't think, per the logic of this, I don't think he's working Cody, if at all. And I think part of the reason also why he was acting so heroic and so babyface, his 2 young daughters were sitting front row. And I don't think Daddy would have wanted his 2 toddlers to see him play a villain.
And
not at all.
You could say like, oh, The Rock is just being a slimy executive. He's putting on a good face, to show. And he could have been doing like the whole, haha, look at me. Yeah, me and Cody are friends. Hugs him like, I will still fucking end your life.
We're drinking tequila. We're drinking tequila right outside his bus.
It's like that scene in Toy Story, where Woody has Buzz's arm and they're pretending to be friends. That's The Rock right now. He won't be doing that. But then there was another point that kind of like left me head scratching. He brings up Roman Reigns. And one thing that I wanted to know between The Rock and Roman Reigns is like, is The Rock still mad at Roman Reigns for losing the title at WrestleMania?
Or better yet, is the match even ever going to happen? Because everybody's been talking for a decade now about Rock versus Roman. And
I'm just wanting to see some story development with that, because this is the first time they've interacted since WrestleMania. And when they came face to face, spoiler alert, at the end of Tribal Combat, which we'll get into in a little bit, I was just wondering, like, what's the reaction going to be? Is The Rock mad at the Tribal Chief for losing the title? Is he mad for all this, personal, blood issues he has with Solo Sikoa and the rest of his family? We didn't really get that tonight, but not to say we're not going to get it in the next few weeks. Like, people acted like this was going to be the last episode of Monday Night Raw ever. Like, this was the go home show to WrestleMania. Like, we still have we're in January.
3 months.
3 months of television. Like, be patient.
Slow your horses. Slow your horses.
We are like 2 years in the Triple H regime, and people still want that instant gratification.
Yep.
Like, let it. And trust me, we're going to
talk
about some storylines on this show.
Let it cook.
We're going to talk about some storylines on the show where Triple H has taken the long game route a little too far. And there are some storylines that, you could shorten by about 3 or 4 months. Not everything has to be a year-long saga. But with this one in particular, like, just let it happen. And regardless of whether The Rock, it's kind of like WWE is prepared for both scenarios. Okay, we have a plan if The Rock is going to be there, and we have a plan for The Rock if he's not going to be there. But I'm going to quote our buddy Greg over on Good Micro Commentaries. The WWE shouldn't be working by The Rock's schedule anymore. I think the WWE is in a place now. This isn't 2011, mind you. This is not 2011 where they needed The Rock more than The Rock needed them. Now they're in a place where it's like, you know what, Dwayne? We love you, and you're always going to have a home here. But you got to let us know. You got to let us know like 6 months in advance if you're going to work Mania or not, because we're not going to sit around and wait for you. Because honestly, regardless if The Rock is involved in WrestleMania 41 or not, the show is going to be a success. Look at your roster right now. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes. So many main event, Randy Orton. So many main eventers that can carry that show with or without The Rock.
Gunther, Sami Zayn.
Cena. They have John Cena full-time the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay without The Rock. So The Rock needs to stop acting like the WWE needs him more than he needs. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Rocky, I love you, but you want to talk about egos. That is a huge ego right there. Which leads us into our opening contest. It's a good segue, Tomas, talking about the final boss.
Good segue. Our first match of the Netflix era of Monday Night Raw is the biggest storyline on Friday Night SmackDown. Fucking company, I swear.
Well, what did you expect? I
swear.
Well, what else did you expect?
A SmackDown feud.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about it, shall we?
This SmackDown matchup is a tribal combat match for the the Ulafala. Sorry, LA Knight got in my ear for a second.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. The storyline that's been building up all year and finally comes to a head. Who is the real tribal chief? These two have had their own OG bloodline versus new bloodline. We'd have Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Jacob Fatu, Jimmy and Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, just this bloodline war that's been going on ever since WrestleMania. Roman Reigns wants the Ula Fala back. He wants to cement himself as the tribal chief. But on the other side, Solo Sikoa wants to establish that he is the new tribal chief and Roman Reigns is old news. I love this match. I thought this match
was really fun. I prefer this tribal combat match over the one that Roman had with Jey a couple of years back in the main event of SummerSlam for the belt. Is it just me, or did they explicitly say on TV that no family members could interfere in tribal combat? Like, I feel like the authorities made that abundantly clear, that you would not be seeing Jacob Fatu, you wouldn't be seeing Tama Tonga, you wouldn't be seeing Sami Zayn, you wouldn't be seeing main event Jey Uso or Jimmy for that matter. It was going to be Roman. It was going to be Roman versus Solo, one-on-one, basically a top Pride Rock, basically deciding who's the new leader of the clan.
And on top of all of that, in the original, when this match was first introduced in that SummerSlam match, they made a point to say nobody from the family can interfere because it would anger the elders. And they just totally disrespected, threw that rule out the window.
And yet Jimmy turned on Jey in that match. So it's they're completely ignoring their own rules now.
Bro, the Wild Samoans are dead. Respect them.
I mean, so is Yokozuna, so is Umaga. Like, you got to respect those guys, man. You really do. This was, despite all that, I agree with you. This match was very fun. Solo certainly was holding his own against Roman. Roman looks so good, doesn't he? Like, it looks like this man has not lost a single step. A man who's beaten leukemia not once but twice, and he still looks like he's a freaking warrior in the best shape that he's ever been in.
This is Roman Reigns' first one-on-one match since WrestleMania. And people were saying this is his first match on Raw and like how many years? I'm like, I don't care. He's a SmackDown superstar. Why would he be wrestling on Raw? People have been complaining that Roman Reigns hasn't been on Raw. And I'm like, he's a SmackDown superstar. Why would he be on Raw?
Yeah.
So it's me. I thought this was very fun. I thought Reigns and Sikoa had great chemistry in this match.
You don't say.
Reigns. But Solo Sikoa has improved so much since WrestleMania. He has really gotten comfortable with this role. He's gotten really comfortable in the ring. And I know a lot of people have said that, Solo Sikoa is not measuring up to the build. The story hasn't been great with him as new tribal chief. He's taken more losses than wins. I understand and I agree with that. But looking at him in this match, he has come so far.
Yeah.
From being the guy on NXT 2.0.
It's a challenge.
He was given such a hefty task to fill the shoes of Roman Reigns when he went off and took his break after WrestleMania. And, I'm not going to sit here and say that Solo Sikoa is a bona fide main eventer now.
No.
He has really come into this role and he finally feels comfortable in his own skin in the WWE. And the man is having the time of his life. If you see this guy on house shows,
dude,
so unserious.
Dude, like there was a TikTok going around of a fan who was sitting in the front row and he's asking Solo, "Hey, why are you so sweaty? You're not even in the ring working." And Solo looks back and he says, "Ask your mom, bro."
Yeah. Him, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga are so unhinged with the fans.
I've
them.
Seen
so much fan footage of them just trying to get under their skin, and the bloodline fires back, and I think that's great. I think my favorite fan footage are fans outside of the arena. They'll see Tama Tonga and they'll go, Tama, yeah. I gotta say,
well, it's over, man.
One thing that I really love about the new bloodline, they all have their own personalities. Mm-hmm. Like, say what you want about Jacob Fatu and the "I love you." It's character.
Yeah, yeah.
Tama Tonga and yeah. Tama Tonga's the weird one. Jacob Fatu is the Samoan werewolf.
He's the intense one.
Yeah, each member of the new bloodline has their own unique personality, and they're not just henchman number 1, henchman number 2, henchman number 3.
Well, except for Camacho, who just feels like a henchman anyway.
Who that is.
Well, it's the same guy if you look at him, but
it's
Roman, there was a point where he hits a spear on Solo referee Chad Patton, who's in some new referee gear, mind you. He's going for the 3 count. Tama Tonga pulls Chad Patton out of the ring. This is where the fun really begins, where all the interference is. Tama Tonga looks down at the referee and he goes, yeah. No, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that.
I wouldn't be surprised. If you would have told me and I never watched the match, I would have believed you. Do we want to talk about the ring mat real quick?
Oh, God, dude. There was so much fucking sponsorship on there.
Okay.
Like,
the ring mat is black now, which I think is a nice touch.
Yes.
I'm going to say this. I'm not defending it. I know sponsorships bug people, but people act like sponsorships in wrestling have never happened before. Go all the way to the days of WCW when Slim Jim was the #1 sponsor.
Yeah.
There was a Slim Jim logo right in the center of the ring. Look at the early days of AEW. They had their sponsors on the ring.
DraftKings.
Look at boxing. They all had sponsorships on the ring. You know what? They're not as intrusive as they used to be. And if they want to have sponsors on the ring mat, fuck it. I just think it's fucking hilarious that Fortnite is in the middle of the ring.
And Jacob Fatu is standing on top of the Fortnite logo. Jacob Fatu. Yeah, please. I want to play as Jacob Fatu in a video game at some point. That man is a walking video game character.
Yeah.
Just that man, again, like, I cannot put over how amazing he is. There was a Solo and Roman, of course, also do some outside brawling. Solo hits a rock bottom for some reason on a steel chair.
Solo.
Roman with a drive-by. Sets up a table in the middle of the ring on top of the Fortnite logo. Gives Solo a powerbomb through the table, and that's when Tama Tonga runs interference on that near fall. Jacob Fatu then runs in, hits a huge execution on Roman Reigns. He plants him right smack dab in the middle of the ring. I'm only saying this to bug Tomas. So anybody who's new to the ZNT show, that's a gimmick. That's a you know, even though Jacob Fatu clearly hit an execution, like if you watch the match, but
it's an Taylor DDT.
Solo then hits Umaga's Samoan Spike for a really, really great near fall there. Then he goes, go ahead.
Complained about it in AEW. I'm going to complain about it here. I will say, in this show particular, there was a lot of kicking out of finishers.
Oh my God, dude!
It bugged me. Every single match I said, there was a kick out of a finisher.
Mm-hmm. Well,
God damn it!
Every single match was a main event match, basically. Yeah. You know,
the art of the finishing move is like on it's on life support right now.
It's dead.
It's dead. It sickens me.
So then. Roman is being beaten down 3-on-1, even though Paul Heyman was at ringside. He could have very easily, like, hopped onto the apron and, like, you know, wreaked havoc on the new bloodline. That would have been fucking awesome. Yeah. But anyway, Sami Zayn and No Yi Jimmy Uso run out to even the odds. Sami hits one hell of a kick on Solo Sikoa. Roman Reigns then follows up with a spear, and Solo kicks out of it. Proving Tomas's point exactly. Roman's spear, how many people have kicked out of the spear, would you say? Romans. Not a lot. I think that should have been the finish. But anyway, you had to have more overbooked nonsense after that spear because Roman.
In this match, I think it was warranted. It was very warranted for this match.
Oh yeah, it definitely felt more like a Bloodline rules match than a Tribal Combat match, though. I'll tell you that much. Roman goes for another spear. He does his ooh-ah. Out of nowhere comes Kevin Owens, hits a stunner on Roman, and then he's looking at Solo and he's like, real quick, pin him, now! And I'm like, why does Kevin care now? Why does Kevin still care about this bloodline shit?
When I saw that was a beautiful spot, by the way. You didn't see Kevin Owens coming. And when Kevin Owens is doing that, I'm just like, why is your issue more with Roman Reigns and you're okay with the new bloodline? Because you were fighting the new bloodline for quite a good period of time in 2024.
Plot hole.
Yeah, but then right before that, Cody Rhodes jumps from the barricade. He takes out Kevin Owens. They get into a great brawl in the audience. And it was at that point in the match, I'm like, this is giving WrestleMania 40 vibes, and I really liked it.
Cody, I also got to say, it's very impressive that Cody can hit a lot of his big offensive maneuvers while wearing a pristine three-piece suit. Like,
oh yeah,
how does he not ruin those things?
Yeah. Either he's very rich or those things are a lot cheaper than they come off on TV.
I'm legitimately curious how many, like, not only number one, how many suits Cody has in his closet, and number two, how does he not ruin them by getting physical?
Well, then again, The Rock came out on Raw every week with a $300 shirt, and he didn't mind getting that thing messed up.
Well, yeah, but those things are like different material than the Armani suits. But Solo goes for one more Samoan spike. Roman then reverses it. One spear. He's riling up the crowd while Paul Heyman is outside the ring dancing with the Ulufala in his hands. He looks like he has gotten his mojo back now that Roman is on TV.
Is Paul Heyman White Prince Nana now or something?
I want Paul Heyman to come out dancing like that now every time. Roman hits one more decisive spear to win Tribal Combat and win back the Ulufala, establishing himself as the only Tribal Chief, the OTC. And this was a lot of fun. I'm gonna go. You know what, dude? Fuck it. 4 stars. This was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun. It gave a lot of WrestleMania 40 vibes. And seeing Cody Rhodes interfere, it felt like WrestleMania 40, but now Roman Reigns was in the spot of the babyface, fighting all the odds and all the people that came out to help him. Mind you, he didn't have John Cena and The Undertaker, but he had Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, even Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was like The Undertaker in this match. You did not expect Cody Rhodes to go in there and interfere the way he did. And I feel like with that, now Kevin Owens has even more fuel to combat Cody Rhodes.
Kevin is right.
Oh, man, what the hell? You're still helping Roman Reigns?
Kevin's right.
But in this sense, it's more of like Cody Rhodes is like, nah, fuck you, Kevin Owens. You're really just like in the way now. Like, I'm gonna take care of you.
You're in my way of life. I cannot I cannot put into words how excited I am to see that ladder match of the Royal Rumble. Maybe even more so than the Rumble matches themselves. Like, that is going to fucking rule. That match is going to fucking rule. No, it's not going to be just aight. It's going to rule. But then,
The Rock comes out.
Do you want to get into this?
Like, oh boy, what do we have here? That's when it started racing in my mind. Is The Rock mad at Roman Reigns? What's the dynamic going to be here?
Yes.
And you could feel the tension in the ring. And The Rock puts the Ulufala on Roman Reigns, extends out the hand. They shake hands, they hug. Rock raises Reigns' hand, and you know what? The fans can say anything they want about this. I still felt the tension. I still feel like The Rock is like, yes, you are the Tribal Chief, but you still failed at WrestleMania. You're not the champion anymore, and you failed the final boss. There's still some story left to tell there, and I feel like it's only going to come into fruition if Dwayne decides to play along.
Yeah.
That's what it all boils down to.
That's why I'm not fully convinced that Rock is not working WrestleMania this year. Like, I will not be convinced until the Mania card is announced. Like, ball's in his court. Ball is certainly in his court.
If The Rock is trying to do this whole, I need to keep the fans on their toes. I need them to, is The Rock going to work WrestleMania? Again, WWE is in a place where I'm almost to the point where I'm like, Rock, I don't care if you work Mania or not. So why don't you just say if you are? If you are, great. I love seeing The Rock wrestle. But if you're not, again, it's not 2011. It's not 2012. The show will go on a huge success, and WWE has like 10 to 15 main eventers on the roster they can work with. The fact that we're sitting here right now wondering, is it going to be Punk and Rollins? Is it going to be Punk and Reigns? Is it going to be Cena and Gunther? Is it going to be Cena and Cody? The fact that we're playing around with all these combinations, we don't need The Rock. Think about it back in 2012. If Cena was working with The Rock, who was he going to work with?
Fucking Kane. Fucking Kane in an Inferno match or something. I don't know.
Like, if Jericho wasn't in the mix?
Yeah,
that's the only thing I could think of.
It's a good question.
2013, who would Cena be working with? I know if The Rock wasn't in the picture, I don't know, we might got Punk and Cena 2 years in a row, which I thought would have been fucking awesome. But the point I'm trying to make is it's not like that anymore. The roster is so dry. It's not so thin. We are no shortage of main eventers. There's like, and we talked about Cena and Cody and Punk and Rollins and Reigns, but you still even got guys like Owens and Zayn and McIntyre that easily could be elevated to that main event status. Point being, whether The Rock decides to play or not, it's not going to be a deal breaker for WrestleMania.
Yeah, as CM Punk would say, I don't give a fuck. WrestleMania is the draw, not The Rock. I don't
Yeah,
care what it's
especially in 2025.
yeah. WrestleMania is over 40 years old now, so that's really the novelty right there. I love you, Dwayne, but Mania is the draw.
Yeah.
So, anyway, speaking of draws, out comes one Jonathan Felix Anthony Cena. And this promo, man, like, Tomas was texting me while this promo was going on, and he had tears in his eyes because Cena was out there, and this is kind of where it hits you. This is where it hits you that this is the beginning of the end. He comes out there with an LA Dodgers inspired T-shirt that says "The Last Time" is now written all over it, and he has like the little the nameplate where his name is written in Dodgers font. Cena comes out there and it's fitting because the Dodgers have won the World Series 2-3 years in a row now. Like they're probably amongst one of the greatest modern teams in Major League Baseball right now. Cena is
It's
go ahead.
7 months ago, John Cena announced his retirement on my birthday, and I cannot believe we're here.
Yeah.
Cannot believe it's finally starting. And like I said,
me neither, man.
Cena started talking, and I started getting emotional. And it's not going to be the last time I get emotional during this run, because this is the first time in my life as a pro wrestling fan. Sure, I've experienced, unfortunately, the death of Eddie Guerrero. I remember where I was when Edge first retired. I was there when Bryan Danielson retired. But John Cena really is the guy whose entire career I have experienced from start to finish. He was our Hulk Hogan. He was our Rock. He was our Austin. Because, we started watching right at the tail end of Rock and Austin's career, at the very tail end of Hulk Hogan's good days. And trust me, brother, we're going to talk about the Hulkster here in a minute. John Cena really is, I can recall almost every single moment in Cena's career, and I know where I was, how old I was, what I was doing. I have bought not until the tail end of his career, I own almost every single John Cena shirt. I would, in middle school, during the summer, I would go on YouTube and I would search John Cena matches, and I would just watch this man's career. There is not another wrestler on the planet whose career I know and have followed and have been so close to. So it all just really hit me when Cena started talking that this is
it.
The pun intended, his towel said it all. The last time.
Yep.
And I feel like they thank God for Sting, because Sting set this trend of, hey, I'm going to retire and I'm going to stay retired. And I think a lot of wrestlers are starting to follow that path. No more of this, hey, I'm retired and I come back a couple years later. No. Even The Undertaker was guilty of that. I truly believe Cena in the same way I believe Sting. After that last bell rings, this is it.
Yeah.
Both Cena and Sting are completely healthy. Sting can jump back in the ring right now if he wants to, but he respects the business and himself to know that, no, this is it.
Cena's going out on his own terms. And he's got a good 10 to 15 years Sting's minor. He still looks like he can go, man. He still looks like he can have a lot of great matches with the likes of Gunther. I'd love to see Punk and Cena one more time. The list goes on. Cena and Rollins again. Cena and AJ Styles if AJ gets healthy again. I hope AJ is healing up from his injury.
Now listen, people also don't understand with Cena's run here. He's not going to pop in a couple of times. He's not going to just show up for the Rumble, show up for Mania, show up for SummerSlam. He has put all of his filming on hold. He confirmed 50-plus dates. He is a full-time wrestler in 2025. 50-plus dates. That means he's going to be on Raw. He's going to be on SmackDown. He's going to be on pay-per-views. Hell, he's probably going to work a few house shows. Cena is 100% dedicated to this run.
He's all in.
I'm going to enjoy every second of this. And how crazy is it? We're sitting here in 2025, and John Cena is cutting this promo. And he says, I don't see a 17th world title during this run. It's not possible. And the fans booed.
Yeah.
And
So
almost 20 years ago,
this
if Cena
promo,
said he was going for a world title, like the fans would be so upset. Like here is Cena saying that he does not see himself winning a world title, and the fans are upset.
Cena is untouchable when it comes to promos. And a big reason why is he has the fans on the edge of their seats wondering what he's going to say next. These fans are not bored by him. Like they're not chanting stupid shit during his speech. They do chant "You deserve it" at him when he mentions winning a 17th world title, which I do think is going to be the big story over this next year. Cena chasing that record, even though it's not really. Cena, go ahead, yeah.
John Cena, we even say this like in like 2009. When he was asked about how do you feel about getting booed as much as you do, he goes, "Yeah, I may be booed, but during my segments, during my matches, are people on their phones? Are people going up to get merch? Are they getting food? Are they going to the bathroom? No, they are in their seats, and whether they're reacting negatively or positively to me, they're paying attention."
Yeah.
And I think that's what every wrestler needs to strive for.
Excuse me when I say this, but John Cena is box office. So he's a huge draw for the company. Can't wait to see what this year brings for him. It accomplished a really, really great thing of what's coming up. He established the story. It's been like over 2,000 days since he won a one-on-one match. That was against Triple H at the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. Hunter cannot wrestle anymore. Hunter has a defibrillator in his chest.
Yeah.
He was the last guy John Cena beat in a one-on-one match.
Since then, he's lost to The Undertaker, Solo Sikoa, Austin Theory. Like, I can't recall a lot of his other one-on-one matches, but...
Bray Wyatt?
Bray Wyatt, yeah.
I'm trying to think of more, but anyway, beside the point. Roman Reigns at SummerSlam in the main event one year. This guy, he's all about putting people over, and this is a guy who also, unlike some people, does not have an ego for doesn't see wrestling as his. He doesn't see himself as the golden goose. Cena's a very humble individual.
If people don't understand the magnitude of Cena's influence on pop culture, I was at my show a couple weekends ago, and somebody had brought up John Cena, in an acting, or they know that I love wrestling, so they brought up John Cena, and I said, "Hey, he's retiring this year?" And they go, "From wrestling, right? Not from acting?" I go, "Yeah, he's retiring from wrestling. This is gonna be his last year." And my director, who doesn't even watch wrestling, goes, "That is quite impressive, considering he's been doing that for so long, that he's been doing wrestling and acting." And I go, "Yeah, he's been doing it for 22 years. And he goes, "That is very impressive to be doing it that long." And I'm like, "Yeah, man." And like I said, it started hitting me.
Yeah.
John Cena is our Hulk Hogan. And John Cena is someone I can be proud of, for the rest of my life.
Me too.
Yeah, he's a little weird. Yeah, he said a couple of things that I don't agree with, but not to the level of Hulk Hogan. Again, we'll get to that when we get to that.
So Cena, this promo accomplished two things. It established the story for Cena's farewell year. It's his chase for the 17th world title. And he also was the first man to declare himself for the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match. And Cena gets super intense, like the John Cena that we know and love growing up, Fruity Pebble era. He looks straight into the hard camera and he says, "I guarantee I will win the Royal Rumble. You want some? Come get some." And, he leaves. He leaves.
I felt like I was 12 years old when he said, "You want some? Come get some." The emotions were overflowing. And let me tell you,
I think
John Cena win the Royal Rumble?
I think he's going to.
No, he will not.
No?
Hear me out. He will not win the Royal Rumble. Because here's the thing. This is the beginning of his farewell tour. This needs to be the entire story of 2025. Because if he wins the Royal Rumble, goes on and wins the world title at WrestleMania, what's left for him to do?
Well, if he doesn't win the Royal Rumble, who does?
I don't know. But hear me out when it comes to this story. Cena has always been about overcoming the odds, having his back against the wall, having to start from the bottom of the mountain and climb his way all the way to the top. That's what the beginning of this run needs to be. He's at the bottom of the mountain. He has not won a match in over 2,000 days. So why should he just waltz right into the Royal Rumble, win, and get that world title?
That's why
he needs to lose again, and he needs to slowly just start beat opponent after opponent after opponent after opponent. And when the clock is about to strike midnight, and I mean near the end of January, this is going to be a bold prediction for me right here, right now. But John Cena, I want to win the world title his last match. I want him to retire as WWE champion.
You know, I think that's a really, really nice prediction, and I think it would be a good story. I would like to see Cena retire on top as the world champion, a lot like Sting did last year. I don't know. I mean, I'm picking Cena to win the Rumble match mainly because, like, if it's not Cena, then who is it? Like, you know, I don't think it's going to be Punk. I don't think it's going to be Roman. It has to be Cena. And, like, to your point, I think Cena should be entering the Rumble no later than number 17. And I say 17 because that's the number world title he's going for. So that's...
You want to raise the stakes even more with that Royal Rumble? Have him come out number 1.
And win the whole thing?
No. He still loses.
Man.
He still loses. Because here's the thing. You want me to book it in 2026? Fine. Cena wins the title, his last match, and then he comes out the next week, cuts the greatest retirement speech of all time, lays the title in the ring, and relinquishes it. You put the title on the line in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, man. That's in Saudi Arabia. You want Saudi Arabia to get that?
It doesn't fucking matter, man.
I know.
I'm talking about the story, and we'll get into Saudi Arabia shit. But here's the thing: I just don't think I don't want to say right, but it fits with the story that Cena is talking about not winning a match in over 2,000 days, and then he just wins the Royal Rumble and he wins the world title. I think just knowing Cena's character and knowing Cena as a person, he needs to overcome every single obstacle. He loses the Royal Rumble. Let's say he loses the Royal Rumble. He comes out on Raw the next night, and then he's confronted by like Chad Gable. He wrestles Chad Gable, and he beats Chad Gable. Next on SmackDown, I don't know, Carmelo Hayes comes out. He beats Carmelo Hayes. And then he just goes on this tear of beating opponent after opponent after opponent. He builds that resume, and then he finally reaches December, and he's like, you know what? The clock's about to strike midnight. I need to win that world title. And whoever the world champion is, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, he goes, my last match. I need to win that title. And whoever that champion is, they could play the whole Cinderella gimmick with Cena. Come on, Cinderella, the clock's about to strike midnight. Are you going to stay a princess or are you going to turn back into a pumpkin? Like, it would be such a good story.
That would work. Those promos would only work if it was Gunther cutting it. I don't think anybody else could cut it.
And that's who I thought of.
Yeah, like, Gunther should not be losing the world title, like, anytime soon. Like, now, anytime.
In your favor, another way they could go about this is he does win the Royal Rumble, but he does not win the title at WrestleMania. And then he has to start over, and then he can climb back to the world title.
That's what I'm thinking.
Wins of the Rumble or not, it's going to be, I know, the boldest prediction of 2025, we're only 2 weeks in, I think Cena needs to win that world title in his last match. And he needs to be the first and the only for a long time to retire as the world champion. And if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. If there's anybody else who was ever retired as world champion, I know Edge did, but he didn't win the world title in his last match. I want Cena to win the WWE or the World Heavyweight Championship in his last match and retire as WWE champion. Yeah.
That's as perfect of a finale as I could have envisioned for one John Cena. But we'll see what happens over this next year. I'm excited to see what's next. But you want to talk about world titles, Tomas? Let's talk about Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the women's world title. These two have been waging war on each other ever since the night after WrestleMania when Liv Morgan accidentally separated Rhea Ripley's shoulder from her body. Liv Morgan went on to have a banner year in 2024 in Rhea Ripley's absence, winning the title at King and Queen of the Ring, having a banger match with Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, and stealing her boyfriend in the process, having a weird kind of bad match at Bad Blood with Dominic suspended above the ring in a shark cage. Yeah, it was bad. I'm giving them too much credit, but this is kind of
winning. I know. Saudi Arabia, boo Saudi Arabia, but I still think winning is a feather in Liv Morgan's cap. Winning
winning WWE's version of the Pro Bowl, yeah, that's got to count for something.
And you know what? I've been watching some old Royal Rumbles, and by old, I mean recent. Liv Morgan's story, believe it or not, it started in 2022. Oh, no, I'm not sorry, not 22, 2023. Because in 2023, she was number 30 in the Rumble, and she didn't win there. In 2024, last year, I'm sorry. 2022, she came out number 30. 2023, she wanted to be number 1, but was number 2, and she ran the gauntlet. And now in 2024, she really, this has been Liv Morgan's odyssey for the past 3 years. And it's been so great to see her hard work pay off. And I have a huge rant about the fans' reaction to the end of this match. And it's going to be all defending Liv Morgan because
Rhea Ripley has been her kryptonite ever since that inception of the story. Former best friends, Liv Morgan would turn heel, accidentally injure Rhea Ripley backstage the night after Mania. Neither here nor there, though.
And in the great words of Liv Morgan,
like her jaws open, yeah. But this match I thought was good. I really did. Good. Yeah,
this was a lot better than their Bad Blood match. But wasn't this supposed to be the last woman standing?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. It never had a stipulation attached to it.
Wasn't this match promoted as a last woman standing match?
It never had a. I don't know why. I don't know why you'd get that impression. I don't know why you'd have a shitty stipulation attached to a blow off.
They do the ring announcements and then they start the match, and I'm half paying attention, and then I look up and I'm just like, wait a minute, wasn't this supposed to be a last woman standing match?
Good.
Like what happened?
Good.
Did I fall asleep for a week?
Good. Michael Cole even was hammering in on commentary. You can only win this match by pinfall, submission, disqualification, or count out. And I'm like, okay, so they don't have a stipulation for this blow off.
Okay, if you decided you didn't want to do a stiff, that's fine, but you can't promote the match with a stipulation and then just pretend it never happened. That's my only issue with this match.
No, my gosh.
So weird. And you know what? Regardless of the stiff or not, I think the blow-off needed a stiff because we've seen these ladies wrestle in a regular match.
Well, then put a cage around the ring so that Dominic doesn't get involved.
Like shit, do something.
Yeah, not a last woman standing match though.
But it would have been nice to see something different. In considering, maybe they didn't. Maybe they had tribal combat and they realized they didn't want too many stipulation matches on this show.
Well, I mean, it's the first Raw on Netflix. Why not go fucking all out? I
agree.
That's what I think. So there's some decent little callbacks. Raquel Rodriguez and Dominic Mysterio are both trying their best to get involved. They're grabbing Rhea Ripley's foot. They're doing all the classic heel tropes. Rhea Ripley is the most over woman in this company now. It's nobody even comes close to Rhea Ripley and her superstardom right now.
Oh yeah.
Her theme song, when This Is My Brutality, blares over the PA system. Tonight, I'm sure there's going to be a massive pop inside the Shark Tank for her. I'm almost positive.
Have friends and coworkers that do not watch wrestling come up to me and go, hey, who's that one wrestler, that goth wrestler I keep seeing on TikTok?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's how you know Rhea Ripley has transcended.
I'll give you another example. My lovely girlfriend, Lindsay, doesn't watch wrestling with me. Right? She doesn't really understand it. But hold on a second. Anytime I mention Rhea Ripley, she perks up and she goes, purple. I like purple. I want to watch purple. But I'm sure if I see a Rhea Ripley pop figure at the merch stand, I'm sure I'm going to be buying one for her, but that's beside the point. Yes. Rhea Ripley, again, this is another victim of the kicking out of finishers trope. Rhea kicks out of Oblivion. Liv kicks out of Riptide.
Riptide should never be kicked out of.
That's
one of those finishers.
Because Rhea Ripley, it takes 3 Riptides to put Liv Morgan away. The one that Liv kicked out of, Rhea hits a second one, and then she realizes, nah, sweetheart, I'm going to go for a third one here. That's a horrible Australian accent, but beside the point. One more Riptide, and it's academic that Rhea Ripley was going to win this title back on this episode of Raw.
The finish I thought was very satisfying because
Oh
prior
yeah,
to those two Riptides, Rhea Ripley. Also, Rhea Ripley kicks out of an Oblivion on a steel chair.
that is ridiculous. That is a little bit more ridiculous than just kicking out of the Oblivion outright. Because you hit Oblivion on a steel chair, should be lights out. That should be it. You know, but Rhea kicked out of it.
Rhea Ripley catches Morgan in a second Oblivion attempt, and the look she gives Morgan is priceless. Like, I got you right where I want you now, bitch.
Yeah.
Riptides, gets the cover, gets the win. And before we get into the aftermath of this match, which was very satisfying, first off, I'm going to give the match 3.25 stars. I thought it was very solid. Not as good as their SummerSlam
I'm going to match it.
But nowhere near as terrible as their Bad Blood match.
Their SummerSlam match was awesome, dude.
So I saw some people on X that said this, and this really brought my blood to a boil. They said Liv Morgan has the best year of her career, and she jobs out to a goth wrestler. And I'm like, Liv Morgan got the best run she ever could have gotten, and she dropped the title to the most over babyface woman in the company. And I am so tired of this mindset of, oh, she lost, jobbed out. No, Liv Morgan, this is the best writing and booking Liv Morgan has gotten in her career and she could ever ask for in her career. She is a made woman. And now she's not shackled to this storyline anymore. There's an Intercontinental title that's going to be crowned tonight. And now Liv Morgan can go for that title. She could jump over to SmackDown, go for the WWE Women's title, the WWE United States Women's Championship. There is such a high ceiling for Liv Morgan now, and this was just the beginning. If booking, Liv Morgan might not even be in the company anymore. But Triple H has taken such good care of her in this era, like we talk about this year-long revenge tour, holding the Women's Championship since May, winning the Crown Jewel Championship. Triple H has recognized the work ethic Liv Morgan has put in, and it's like, just because she lost does not mean she's buried, does not mean she's jobbed out. She dropped the title to the most over babyface on Raw right now. That's like saying jobbed out because he dropped the WWE title to The Rock. That's like saying Trish Stratus jobbed out because she dropped the title to Lita. It's called passing the torch. It's called finishing the story.
Yep. The story that has been told ever since April dictated that Rhea was going to win this championship back. So I don't know what else y'all were expecting.
Did the story go on too long? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Big time.
This suffered from the same issue that this stupid Finn Balor, Damian.
Oh, dude! If this fucking street fight that I'm seeing tonight is not the end of the feud, I might fucking blow a gasket. Like, I'm so sick of this feud.
You know, at least the Ripley Morgan feud had a means to an end. It had a goalpost. It was Rhea Ripley winning back the women's title. Damian Priest got his revenge on Finn Balor. There's no world championship. There's no, there's no mountaintop to climb. Like, Priest got his rematch for the world title, and they incorporated it into this feud with Balor. So yes, I do agree that sometimes Triple H takes his booking a little too far out. This could have ended at Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yeah.
But I get it. They wanted a big match for the Netflix episode.
And a title change.
Now. And they needed a title change. And the aftermath to this match was...
it was so awesome.
In the ring,
so fucking awesome.
SummerSlam never happened. He wants a hug from mommy. He wants to be back in her good graces.
Yeah.
Looks at him, is about to go in for the hug, and kicks him in the balls.
Takes him to Dick Kick City, and
hits Riptide on Dom, and it was the most satisfying thing I've ever seen.
I mean, if we're not going to get a full-fledged match between Rhea and Dom, like, this was the next best thing. And honestly, this was made all the better by the fans bringing back a very popular chant from one of the best weekends of our lives at Dominic, when they were chanting, Culero, culero, culero. And I was like, fuck, yes.
That being said, so I want you to look at this. Dominic Mysterio openly was about to leave Liv Morgan just because Rhea Ripley was champion. Liv Morgan's no longer the champion. There's going to be animosity tonight between Morgan and Dom. this needs to be and if you say this Priest and Balor match is happening tonight,
this
needs to be the end. This needs to be the end of the shitty Judgment Day we have now. Branch them all out. You say you're going to push Finn Balor, push Finn Balor. Dominic Mysterio is ready to be on his own.
If Finn Balor, dude, if Finn Balor pins Damian Priest tonight, I will pop like mad. Like that would be fucking awesome. But I don't think it's going to happen.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's time to end the Judgment Day. Like,
yeah,
I do not care they have shitty new theme music. Look, it's all come crashing down for them. They lost the World Tag Team titles. They lost the Women's Championship. Liv Morgan is not going to be happy with Dominic Mysterio. And if Balor loses this match to Priest tonight, there's no reason for this Judgment Day to continue.
No.
You have this transfer window. Take a couple of those Judgment Day guys and put them on SmackDown. It's time to move on. It's run its course. The Judgment Day was one of the greatest, happiest accidents we've ever gotten. It ran its course, and the peak of its popularity really died at SummerSlam. And, there was a little bit of gas left in the tank. But this Judgment Day is running on fumes now, and I have no interest in seeing it continue.
It's a classic case of jumping the shark.
Yeah.
So, or
a classic case of it ran its course.
Yeah.
It's okay I understand. Like, I feel like there's phases in our lives where, like, something is really cool and we don't want to see it end. But here's the thing. If you don't end it while it's good, then it's going to get bad.
Yeah.
It's that classic trope of, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yeah.
Like, either you end it good or you see it go long enough where it's bad.
And from one badass to another, Ripley is celebrating, and out comes the American badass, The Undertaker, to greet her. In my opinion, I know he started praising the hell out of John Cena, and I feel like when it's all said and done, he will be the greatest of all time. But for right now, my GOAT is The Undertaker. Just because of his longevity and his dedication to the business, his dedication to the character, the matches he's been able to pull out of his ass. He greets Rhea. They do the fists in the air as Taker takes a last ride through Los Angeles.
I saw a lot of people complaining about this, saying, why is The Undertaker out there? He has nothing to do with Rhea Ripley. Why are they parading all the old legends? You know what, guys? Fuck off. It's The Undertaker.
I love him.
Have some goddamn fun.
And mind you,
it has to be so serious storytelling. Let us have some goddamn fun.
It's also a full circle moment in Raw history because The Undertaker, I believe, was in the main event of the very first episode of Monday Night Raw back in 1993. And here he is putting Rhea Ripley over like a massive superstar. And keeping in mind, The Undertaker was massively cheered in Los Angeles. This will be important for something that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Also, The Undertaker endorsed Rhea Ripley. That was probably a joy for her. So who fucking cares, guys? It's for one night. Also, I'm reading rumors that Becky Lynch's return was scrapped.
It might happen tonight. Oh, man. After
So
Lyra Valkyria wins the Intercontinental Championship and Becky Lynch comes out to congratulate her and confront her, that would be awesome.
Considering Becky Lynch is on a very limited schedule now, I don't think her feelings were too hurt that her return got scrapped. Like, there's so many a year, like, she can come back anytime she wants.
Yeah.
Before we get into this next match.
Yes, yeah. Can I talk about this backstage segment?
Oh, yeah.
So Adam Pearce is backstage getting interviewed by Kathy Kelly, and he is cut off by Chad Gable, an American Made. They have been kind of stuck in mid-card purgatory since Gable's sort of push to the Intercontinental Championship in the summertime. He was in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Hasn't really done much of note since then, except for putting this stable together. And Chad Gable is kind of talking about, man, you haven't really given me anything, Adam. Why don't you give me the best you got? And he, like, for some reason, pulls the word luchador out of his ass. And Adam Pearce is like, I think I got the right opponent for you. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this up, and then I'll put one of these down. Just because I feel like there's a certain someone coming to San Jose to wrestle Chad Gable.
I see what you're trying to do, but since WWE wanted to bury the lead, I'm going to bury the
lead. Yo, this pissed me off so much.
They put his goddamn merch on the website already.
They didn't want to wait.
He's coming tonight. And if that wasn't enough, they were running vignettes for him. And this one, they just straight up put the 0 on the screen, the mask on the screen, and they spelt out Penta. Look, I'm in the middle about this. We live in a day and age where everything is spoiled. Everybody knew Penta was coming. But at the same time, I know WWE's like, look, we're not stupid. We know everybody knows, so let's not act like the fans are stupid. But at the same time, I love a little of anticipation. You know, I know we know, but it's like, I don't know. It's like watching Avengers Endgame. We knew the Avengers were going to win in the end, but it was still the journey of how we got there and stuff. Like if somebody just put the plot synopsis up and I read the whole thing, then it wouldn't just feel the same and wouldn't hit the same. So it's like,
exactly.
I just so hard when I woke up this morning. I opened up Facebook and the first thing I see is WWE saying Penta merchandise now available on the site. Get your t-shirts, your hoodies, your masks. And you know what? WWE knows how to market. Those masks are going to sell like hotcakes.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Penta is going to rake in massive coin with those royalty checks by themselves. He is going to be a massive star for this promotion. That's even before his brother gets there, out of the AEW prison that he's in right now. Like, Penta coming in by himself, it's a little weird not seeing him without his brother, but I think Penta has potential to, at the very least, win the Intercontinental Championship. 1,000%. He's going to be insanely over in the Bay Area.
Excuse me? Did you just say Penta's going to look weird coming out by himself? Excuse me, sir. Penta is a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Penta is a former Lucha Underground World Champion.
I understand that.
Penta
I understand that.
Made man as a single star.
Listen,
I'm be plenty okay by himself.
I know, but I've been so used to seeing him in a tag team for like all these years. It's been so long since I've seen him as a single star. Like it's going to be a bit jarring. I mean, I know I've seen it before.
I have my predictions for Penta, and I think I want to reserve those until after his debut. But I think this is a good opportunity for WWE to just rectify this situation with Fenix. Like, there is stuff they're going to be able to do with Penta, and I already have his road to WrestleMania planned out, and let's hope they go through with it.
Let's see.
Next match. So I'm sitting there watching the show, and Hulk Hogan's music hit.
Oh, you want to talk about this now? I think this came after the Jey Uso match. Yeah.
Never mind. No. Let's save it then.
Yeah.
Sorry for burying the lead there. But next
it's okay.
up, this was kind of our cool-down match. This match had some heat going into it, but we've seen it a few times, and I didn't understand, like, what was the point of running this match back. But, hey, I got both guys on the card, and considering one of them is extremely over, I'm not going to complain about it. It's main event Jey Uso versus the Sinister Scotsman, Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre's never-ending quest to destroy the original bloodline. But before that, we had some celebrity cameos, which were really cool. We had Macaulay Culkin, huge wrestling fan, and has even started his own wrestling company in the past. Yeah, he is a meme now because he's wearing a hat that says Papa, and he reveals himself, and he gets the biggest pop in the world.
Macaulay Culkin gets it, man. Like, he gets the art of wrestling, and he's looking out, he's blowing a kiss to the crowd, and I couldn't help but not see the kid from Home Alone in there, even though he's mid-40s now. It's really weird.
Shout out to Macaulay Culkin. He's probably the only child actor that, he fell into some addiction. He overcame his addiction. He's sober, and now he's married to Brenda Song, and they have children. He is a truly inspirational story, and I'm very jealous that he's married to Brenda Song because
we have
growing up.
We also saw Fluffy Iglesias in the crowd. You had Vanessa Hudgens as well,
was in the crowd.
Wale, of course. I mean, all the stars were out, man. You had Seth Green out there.
Now, you know what all of those celebrities have in common? They're all actually wrestling fans.
They're all
gets that.
I mean.
If you want the mainstream rub, no, Seth Green is a wrestling fan. If that's what you're about.
No. I was gonna answer that question of what all those people had in common with. They're all more over than Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to that. But Triple H understands the market of if you're gonna get the mainstream rub, do it with celebrities that actually care about wrestling. I hate to bring up the guest host era, but we had those stupid NASCAR drivers that called Kofi Kingston Kofi Johnson. You had
Hugh Jackman.
Does Hugh Jackman not like wrestling?
No. I think he does. But you had fucking Ben Roethlisberger coming out there as a guest host of Raw.
Reverend Shaw. Who was that one fucking idiot The one that came out with the guy who played the dentist in Hangover, who called SummerSlam Summer, but Jeremy Piven. That fucking idiot, Jeremy Piven. You had Vern Troyer, that I guess was a fucking nightmare to work with backstage.
John Heater?
Yes. Oh my God. And now you have celebrities. You know, we know there's a lot of celebrities that love wrestling, like Macaulay Culkin, like Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa Hudgens goes to house shows. She doesn't go to these shows where she's going to be featured. She goes to house shows. And I think like Cody Rhodes gave her the rub. It was great. I love Vanessa Hudgens. I had a huge crush on her growing up. But then
anyway,
we get introduced to Travis Scott, who is performing the new Monday Night Raw theme song, which we did not see on this show, surprisingly. And this is how you know you're in the Netflix era of Raw, and it's uncensored, because Travis Scott is just straight up smoking a blunt to the ring. And Jey Uso's
has a huge doobie in his hand.
And Jey Uso was interviewed about this after the show. And Jey, you gotta love Jey, because he was just like, look, man, like that, I respect that. Travis Scott, like him doing that, that's all cool and all, but you got kids sitting over there, and, you know, kids look up to me, so, and he's trying to pass it to me, so I'm like, nah, man, there's kids over there. And Triple H was so fucking funny. Triple H goes, and I have to commend Jey Uso for just saying no.
God damn it. But this is a continuation
whatever anybody wants to do on their off time, I don't judge all that, but I just thought it was hilarious that I saw that on my TV screen. And Jey Uso, I'm not saying like, oh, Travis Scott shouldn't have done that. I thought it was hilarious, but Jey Uso does have a point of like, hey, man, there's kids here. There's kids within feet of you, and these kids look up to me. I can't be doing that shit on TV.
So this is a continuation of Drew McIntyre's Punisher phase in his career. He's trying to check off all of the old OG Bloodline members on his kill list. He's already beaten Sami Zayn twice, so now his focus is on main event Jey. This match I thought was good. I mean, they got about 10 minutes. It was a pretty physical match. Drew McIntyre, did Jey kick out of the Claymore? I don't think he did.
I don't want to say he did.
Man, I really hope he fucking didn't.
I don't want to say this match was rushed. It just felt like a normal TV match. And like I said, we've seen it before. I think we already saw McIntyre check Jey off his list.
Right.
Kind of didn't understand the purpose of running it back. But it was a fine match, and Jey actually got a win with a surprise roll-up, which I saw so many people complaining about, saying, oh, McIntyre's jobbed out. Like, motherfucker, he lost one match.
Well, I understand why Jey won, because this is the first episode of Raw on Netflix, and you're trying to cater to the casual fans, and you're trying to put all the heroes over. But the story is Drew McIntyre killing all of the OG Bloodline members on his way to Roman Reigns, potentially at WrestleMania. If The Rock is not available, I think Drew McIntyre is a perfect opponent for Roman Reigns. But with that in mind, at some point in this storyline, Drew has to beat Jey Uso. And if this was the only match, then this story would make no sense. So I don't think this is the only time these two are going to lock horns. They might have another match at Elimination Chamber down the line. I mean, I'm not entirely sure. Drew needs to beat Jey on his way to Roman, though. He has to.
Since I'm talking a lot about a speculation for WrestleMania, here's my speculation. You want to get to that Roman Reigns match? Drew McIntyre needs to eliminate him from the Rumble.
Yeah. No, big time. Big time. Before the Final Four. Roman Reigns, I think, needs to be eliminated pretty early on. Like, not like, you know, around the halfway point of the match, but after number 30 comes out, like, Roman can be in there for a bit, but don't
be like final 10, final 7.
Don't save Roman for the very end, though, because we've seen that so many times in the Royal Rumble matches in the past. So, yeah, Drew's got to be the one to toss him.
He does, because you know how the whole CM Punk feud kicked off last year with CM Punk eliminating McIntyre from the Rumble? It needs to be the same issue here.
Yeah. So, Drew McIntyre, I do think, is on a collision course with Roman Reigns at some point. Jey Uso pins him with an inside cradle. Drew McIntyre is seething in the ring. This issue is not over. This is not the only time that Jey and Drew are going to lock horns. I'm going to go 3. 3 even. It was a pretty standard TV match, but
like I said, and also remember, grading matches on TV is a curve. I'm going to give it 2.5 because it just felt like a normal TV match to me. I've seen Drew McIntyre have better main event spots. I've seen McIntyre have better matches with Jey. I've seen McIntyre have better matches with Sami Zayn.
Absolutely.
I feel like give this match 5 more minutes. Let them kick into that third gear. But, it's a television match. I'm not going to harp too much on this. I'm just going to don't fucking say Drew McIntyre is buried. This man, I rewatched the 2020 Royal Rumble, and that's where this man's odyssey began. And just seeing the character development and everything he's gone through all just interconnect the past 5 years. It's going to make it all the better when McIntyre does win the big one. Because it's Drew just putting every obstacle in his way.
Number one, Drew is the most interesting character in WWE right now, and nobody comes even close to it. And number two, Drew McIntyre is actually my prediction on who's going to dethrone Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship.
It's a good prediction.
That's a bold pick, but I think it's going to be McIntyre.
No, what I think is at WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk.
No, no, that feud's over. That feud's over.
So, speaking as I said, Hogan's music hits.
And you know what my
reaction was? I looked up at the screen, I rolled my eyes, and I went on my phone because I knew this was going to be nothing of substance.
Same old shit.
This is where my mistake came in because I really didn't pay attention to this segment. And the next day, I'm online, I'm scrolling through my feed, and all I see is Hulk Hogan booed out of the arena. Hulk Hogan booed out of the arena. Hogan gets terrible reception from the crowd. And I'm just sitting there going, fuck, I wasn't paying attention.
Good.
I want to boo with you guys. No, get in the time machine, boys. We're going back. We're going back.
So
I want to boo him.
I'm not going to harp on this too much because Hulk Hogan doesn't deserve my fucking attention. He cuts his same old shit promo. Jimmy Hart is out there, and he looks way younger than Hulk did. It's Hulk rips off his shirt.
81, and he still looks better than Hogan.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Hart just doesn't age, man. He's out there waving the American flag as well. Hulk, I'm sure, was wishing he would be waving a different flag. And let me address something real quick. Hulk Hogan was not booed out of the building in Los Angeles because he voted for Donald Trump.
No.
And this is going back to The Undertaker. Undertaker had Donald Trump on his podcast. And Undertaker was universally cheered in the Intuit Dome. It is not a political thing.
I'm going to quote my buddy Ricky that I met when I was meeting Joe Hendry. And we were talking about Taker. And we said, you know what? It doesn't matter that he voted for Trump. We prefer if you didn't. But we can at least look at everything else Undertaker has done and kind of separate that. We can laugh at Undertaker. We can, say like, God damn Taker, like we expected better of you.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with Hulk Hogan. It's not just about that. It's about Hulk Hogan being the biggest egomaniac in professional wrestling history. It's about him holding guys down, holding entire companies down, using his creative control to fuck people over. And he's racist. He is an open racist motherfucker. He has openly said it on podcasts where he's gotten canceled. Even as recently with this shitty Real American beer shit, he hired a model to promote his beer. He did not know the model was black. When he found that out, he texted the model and said, actually, we're going in a different direction. The project is canceled. The very next fucking day, that model hopped on Instagram and saw a white model promoting his beer.
Yeah, that doesn't work for him, brother. So
that's why we don't like Hulk Hogan. And we're just so fucking tired of him being delusional, acting like there's nothing wrong, and thinking that we still give a shit about this guy. We don't.
No.
And WWE, you made a huge mistake partnering with him with Real American Beer. Not that you can't do that. I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like AEW partnered with Ric Flair and his shitty energy drink. The thing is, you cannot expect to bring Hulk Hogan out on television and not expect us to treat him the way that we do. They showed a promo package on SmackDown of Hulk Hogan hyping up Saturday Night's Main Event, and the sheer image of Hogan being on the screen got booed.
Yep.
Thank you, LA. You just started the trend now. Hulk Hogan is never going to be over in any arena ever again.
Good.
And you know what? I wish I lived in a universe where Hulk Hogan was universally praised. I want Hulk Hogan to be known as the Babe Ruth of professional wrestling, but he did it to himself. And he has no one to blame but himself.
Yeah. It's
So
like
Hulk Hogan, get out of my fucking life. I'm so over him.
God damn, Hulk Hogan just won't get out of my fucking life.
So yeah, that was the whole Hogan thing. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I'm just regret not joining in on the fun. But how crazy is that? That I see Hulk Hogan on my television screen and I just look at my phone.
Yeah.
You think I would have did that with The Rock? No. You think I would have did that with Cena? Hell no.
No, I fast forwarded the whole Hogan promo.
Damn.
So I didn't give a shit just because I knew he would say the same exact shit. The same exact fucking thing. I body slammed Andre the Giant in the New Orleans Silverdome, brother.
Last two things that I'm going to say. Number one, the boos were so apparent that the Netflix captions picked up on them. And
crowd booing in the subtitles.
It wasn't until I watched a video of a live crowd reaction, they were actually chanting, "Fuck you, Hogan."
Good.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what happens when you're an egomaniac trying to hold all the young up-and-comers down. Just for the sake of your own image. Fuck you, Hogan.
To a nicer guy. And you want to know more how delusional Hogan is? The next day, he made comments saying, "Oh, they booed me because of my political views, brother." No. It's not just about that.
That's not it.
It's not.
I know you're going to twist it and say that you were in California, which is a known liberal state. Both Tomas and I are from California. We know that. We We did not vote for Donald Trump. So that's again, not to get too deep into that, but Hulk Hogan, you were not booed because you're MAGA. I'm sure if Kane walked out there in full fucking like Kane Devil's Favorite Demon gimmick and the pyro goes off in the turnbuckles, the crowd would have fucking popped huge. I love Kane. I would have popped. But does that mean I agree with his political views? No. No. But I still can respect Kane for his longevity and his contributions to the business.
And that's the thing. If you try to do that with Hulk Hogan, you look at Hulk Hogan's history in pro wrestling, and it's almost all bad.
Yeah.
I promise. Last thing on the subject, because I've been seeing a lot of this online. Same thing goes with Vince McMahon. We are very aware of Hulk Hogan's contributions to the business. We will never deny that. We will never deny that if it wasn't for Hulkamania, there wouldn't be a WWE. But you know what? That was in the fucking 80s, man.
Yeah, and stopping a union being formed for the boys. Like putting a big gigantic veto on Jesse the Body Ventura's vision for the boys.
I'm going to go very extreme with this. If I created the cure for cancer and then 30 years down the line, I just started murdering every animal I see, I think people would look at me the same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we are very aware of Hulk Hogan's contributions to the business. We know that. That does not give him a lifetime pass. It doesn't. Because if the bad outweighs the good, yeah, I'm sorry. Vince McMahon doing what he did to that poor girl, his contributions to the business do not excuse it.
Yep. One horrible thing you do in your life tarnishes your whole legacy, and Hulk Hogan is another prime example of that. And Hulk, we're not going to forgive you like we apparently forgave Chris Benoit. Yeah. I will never forgive Chris Benoit for what he did to his family.
Mark Henry revealed on Busted Open that when he was asked about Hulk Hogan, Mark Henry personally reached out to Hogan and said, "Why don't I take you on a tour of some black colleges and universities and you can just learn about the culture?" Hogan said no.
Because he's a fucking coward.
Yeah. Yes.
So fuck him. I don't want him on my TV anymore. Anyway, people I do want on my television more often than not. CM Punk versus Seth freaking Rollins in the main event of the first Raw on Netflix. How surreal is it to see CM Punk wrestling on Raw for the first time in 1,000 some odd days? You know what my favorite part about CM Punk's run here in WWE? What's that? Every feud he's been getting into has been just so nuclear, personally nuclear. Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. These aren't just feuds for the sake of having feuds. He makes it, you feel the tension in these matches. These are truly grudge matches. Yeah. With Punk and McIntyre, you thought those guys wanted to kill each other. Same with this feud right here. Punk and Rollins? Yeah, this is a match that could have happened at WrestleMania. That's how huge this is. That's how huge this is. And like Michael Cole on commentary while Punk was making his entrance, it was so surreal hearing him say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Colby Lopez, now known as Seth Rollins, drove all the way out to Illinois to CM Punk's training school, and Rollins did not have the money to continue training with Punk. So he stepped away from it. And they reunited in NXT. They had a tag match there in 2012. CM Punk left WWE, took his ball and went home in 2014. Rollins was carrying the banner for a good chunk of the horrific nature that was the late 2010s at WWE.
Yeah.
And Punk...
Hey, I will say Seth Rollins really was carrying the company on his back in 2015.
Yeah. So is Seth the heel?
You know,
like,
that's what I love about this story. I do think it's heading towards a Seth Rollins heel turn. Because you look at the promos and you look at the story, yeah, when CM Punk arrived, it was always Seth Rollins getting into CM Punk's face. And CM Punk is just defending himself. Like, Punk said after Bad Blood, he wanted to go for the World Championship, and here's Seth Rollins getting in his face again. Punk even said in his promos, the only reason why I was going after you is because you have the World Heavyweight Championship. You don't have that anymore. You have nothing I desire. I want nothing to do with you. Punk is just trying to go about his business, and Seth Rollins is making it personal. And you know, when you make it personal towards Punk, Punk's going to fire back. He always has some loaded in the chamber.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So don't mess with CM Punk verbally, because otherwise he will
be eviscerated.
Otherwise, you will have him exercise his abilities as a choke artist, right? You know, like he actually did walk out wearing the same jacket that he wore at Wembley Stadium when he choked Jack Perry out. And I'm sure all the AEW sickos saw that and they were like pissing their pants, just like I'm sure they're going to be pissing their pants when Penta walks out tonight. But anyway, this match was outstanding. These guys, like whatever personal animosity these two had, they put it on the back burner. Both of them were extremely professional in there, and they worked a clinic. These guys got 20 minutes, and it was like one of the better Raw matches I've seen. And I don't even know how long, man. It was excellent.
This match was very good, but I know I've forgiven CM Punk after all the shit I've given him, and I've eaten my bowl of crow. But you know what we say on the ZNT?
I'm still eating it.
I calls it like I sees it. CM Punk was very gassed in this match.
Little bit.
The stamina he used to have.
Yeah.
He can't do this full time anymore. And I think CM Punk is excellent at storytelling in the ring and on the mic. Is he the best bout machine? Absolutely not. I think Seth Rollins, I don't want to say Seth Rollins carried CM Punk, not in the storytelling department, probably more on the athletic side. The athletic department. CM Punk is a master of storytelling, but he's not that.
No, Punk.
Even in this run, I will say CM Punk is not the greatest professional wrestler in the world.
No.
He gets over with his storytelling, his ring psychology, and his mic skills. I look at his entire career. He's had some bangers for sure, but none of those were, double shooting star presses and like pile drivers and like those crazy near fall finishes. None of it was that. Here's a good example. Him versus John Cena at Money in the Bank. That match was truly carried by the story. CM Punk going to walk out of WWE with the WWE title.
Still, I think my favorite match of the PG era. That match was unfucking believable.
So I think CM Punk did an excellent job in the storytelling and the ring psychology of the match. I think Seth Rollins did a lot of the heavy lifting when it came to the pro wrestling side.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also because I feel like even now I would call this match kind of a clash of styles, because Punk was never known like for being the most athletic tool in the shed. Punk was always known for being not just a great storyteller, but he is a submission machine.
Yes.
Why do you think his matches with Samoa Joe were always great? Because both guys' styles were so similar and they complemented each other so well. Seth Rollins, I think, is way more of a high flyer than he is a technical wizard.
Also, the brawling in this match was really good. I'm not a big fan of crowd brawling, but they got very physical with each other in the audience. And I saw different crowd perspectives of this match. And when Punk clotheslined CM Punk, when Punk clotheslined Seth Rollins over the barricade, he damn near landed on his head on the concrete. They were definitely not taking liberties with each other, but it's like, hey, remember, I don't like you, so I'm going to be a little more snug with you in this match. Like, CM Punk is still very snug in the ring. That's one thing I will not fault him for.
No, not at all. Not at all. Rollins and Punk they're doing some crowd brawling. Rollins takes a nasty bump on his tailbone on the concrete floor, which could not have been fun. Rollins, one of my favorite things about this match, I know what you're thinking. Seth hits a GTS, and I fucking popped like nobody else. CM Punk has the presence of mind to roll out of the ring so Rollins can't beat him with his own move. But then later on, they're brawling on the outside. Rollins has the advantage. He rolls Punk in the ring. Psych! Punk's playing possum, hits a curb stomp, and I'm like, yes! Give me more of that. Give me more stolen finishers. That is my favorite thing. Like, especially if somebody beats you with a stolen finisher. That is the best.
Then the finish, everybody and their mothers had to point this out, and I fucking hate this so much. Apparently, this was the same exact finish that they did with CM Punk and Jon Moxley in AEW. I'm going to get on my hard horse about this right now, because I watch videos of meme wrestling memes, and they always do this, and I fucking hate it. They will take a match that happened like last week, and they'll be like, oh, this is the same exact thing so-and-so did in 1992. Who gives a flying fuck? There have been over 1 million pro wrestling matches of all time. Who fucking cares if they copied one segment from one match?
Yeah.
Get a fucking life.
Well, I mean, especially if Punk beat Dean Ambrose the same way, like of course he's going to beat another member of the Shield pretty similarly. You know, I mean, like he was Dean Ambrose at one point. So in WWE's lineage, he will always be Dean Ambrose. So that's two members of the Shield down. One more to go, potentially at WrestleMania. Punk hits one. So Rollins does the deed.
This just reminded me of this. This is not nothing to do with CM Punk. But I saw a meme of Cope doing the crossface with the steel chair, the crowbar.
Oh, he did it to all three members of the Shield.
And the caption said, Cope does not believe in the Shield.
Nope. I mean, who would believe in the Shield now, especially since one of them is leading a really shitty faction right now.
I believe in the Death Riders.
I don't believe in the Death Riders because they fucking suck. But anyway, Seth Rollins hits a curb stomp on Punk. Goes for the cover. Punk puts his foot on the rope. It was very telegraphed, I thought. Rollins then does the deed, goes for the Falcon Arrow. Punk with a beautiful counter into a go to sleep. And Rollins, the way he's selling it, ricochets off the ropes. Punk is on his knees. Rollins ends up on Punk's shoulders in a fireman's carry position again.
Are you talking about Trevor?
No, I'm not talking about Trevor. I'm not talking about Trevor at all.
He wasn't in this match. Trevor was not in this match.
You son of a bitch. Rollins back on Punk's shoulders. One more fuck you GTS to Rollins, and Punk pins him. 1, 2, 3. As clean as can possibly be. This was an excellent match. I'm going to go 4 stars on it. I thought that there were a few little moments here and there that were telegraphed, like Punk putting his foot on the bottom rope. And yes...
for that reason, I'm going to go 3 3/4. I thought it was excellent. I think if CM Punk wasn't as gassed as he was, this could have been a little better. But again, I'm not complaining. I thought this was an excellent match. And I loved the storytelling and the body language of Seth Rollins after the match, because he just sits up and he is staring at the mat like, how could I fucking lose to this guy? How in the world could I lose this guy? And you know what? This is what it's going to put
after all that shit that Seth was talking about him.
Yeah,
like,
this is what's going to push Rollins over the edge. He's going to absolutely... He might even do it tonight. Who knows? He's going to...
I don't know.
And just absolutely eviscerate CM Punk.
We shall see.
Heel Seth Rollins. And this story is going to continue. I do not think this is the only match Punk and Rollins are going to have. This is too heated of a rivalry to end it at one match. This is only the beginning. So if people are out there complaining, oh, Punk went over Rollins, it's just the beginning, guys.
We'll see.
I thought this was an excellent main event to a pretty good debut episode on Netflix. Like, it wasn't the greatest Raw of all time. It was definitely filled with a lot of fluff, a lot of, oh, look at these celebrities, and look, we're on Netflix, and oh, look, The Rock, and oh, look, John Cena. But
fuck Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, fuck Hulk Hogan. I thought it got the message across. And again, they got 4.7, which is insane. They dethroned Squid Game as the #1 show on Netflix, which is insane. And this is only the beginning for Raw on Netflix. And I'm looking very forward to this era of Raw on Netflix.
I'm looking forward to being there tonight and seeing the continuation. I'm going to give this premiere an 8 out of 10. I think it accomplished exactly what it needed to. The matches I thought were all pretty stellar across the board. The opener and the main event in particular were both outstanding. If you have Netflix, if you're a subscriber to Netflix, if you're a new viewer to WWE, it's going to open up a whole new portal to a whole new group of fans that don't recognize the greatness of what pro wrestling is.
I had friends texting me and people in person when I told them Raw's on Netflix, they're like, oh, shoot, I might check that out. Like, just being on Netflix is a game changer for casual fans, too. Because it's a lot less likely that you're going to discover Monday Night Raw channel flipping. Because here's the thing. If somebody asked me where to watch Monday Night Raw, let's say this was like 6 months ago, I would say, oh, it airs on our time, 8 o'clock, depending on what you have, either 5 or 8 on the USA Network. And it might be, oh, shoot, I don't have time to watch that, or I'm going to miss it, or I don't have DVR. But on Netflix, you're more likely to just open up your Netflix app, see Monday Night Raw staring you right in the face and be like, oh, shit, I can watch this whenever I want. I could tune in right now. I could start it over. My brother's getting back into wrestling, and he texted me and said, is Monday Night Raw available right after on Netflix? I said, yeah. And he goes, okay, I'll check it out. It's a lot more accessible now to the general public.
There you go, man. I think I think pro wrestling is in probably the best spot it's ever been. Yeah. Like even just walking through Target while I was running errands today, one of the employees sees me wearing this shirt. And usually if it was 10 years ago, no, my shirt. 10 years ago, if I was wearing it in public, nobody would have batted an eye at it. But this employee walks by me and he sees the shirt and he has this big like I don't want to call it a twinkle in his eye, but he's like, are you going tonight? And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, it's in a really good spot, man. And the ZNT Wrestling Show will always be here for you to talk all the great things in pro wrestling, past, present, future, then, now, and forever. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Tap on that thumbs up. We got a lot of fun stuff still to talk about. We have not forgotten about our 2006 retrospective. Next on docket should be ECW One Night Stand 2006. A show that has been requested by so many of you for so long.
It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming.
We appreciate your patience.
We're into the new year. Mm-hmm. And yes, the next WWE review will be the Royal Rumble coming up in a couple of weeks. I can't wait. Coming up just quickly. I can't wait. And then we got AEW Revolution and
Grand Slam in February in Australia.
Yep. Yeah. Saturday night's main event before the Royal. Oh yeah, we should talk about that Saturday night's main event too. I think that's the next WWE wise. I keep forgetting that show's gonna happen.
I keep forgetting, too, in San Antonio, Texas. But, yeah, it should be a lot of fun, guys. Stay tuned for the next one, and take care.